Robert, I'll start with you. You didn't believe in this at first, right? You didn't believe in psychics at first.
Not in the least. I heard him on the radio several times, and I couldn't possibly believe what he was doing was real.
But it was the John Smith case in 1998 that changed things?
Right. So I was a former police officer in New Jersey. I had some knowledge of a case that was unsolved of a man who reported his wife missing in New Jersey in 1991. That same man was married to another woman years earlier who disappeared virtually in an identical way. And in neither case was a body or any physical evidence recovered, and it went unsolved. I picked it up years later and tried to breathe new life into it, and that's when I heard John on the radio and made an appointment to go talk to him.
10:25 p.m. And John, you weren't ready to jump on this either. Like, you were hesitant to work with Robert.
Yeah, my dad was a New York City police officer, and one of the caveats that he told me two things. One, do not besmirch my name, and two, please don't let me find out that you're working with the police. So I never did. It wasn't something that I had an interest in. But when Bob reached out to me, we met, and just like I would sit with a regular client, I sat with him and used my abilities to assist him on what he was asking me about.
And what did you do? Like, how exactly does it work?
So when I sit with somebody, in this case, I did what's called psychometry. I was holding on to objects that belonged to the victim that he was looking for. And I was telling him what I was seeing, hearing, and feeling. And oftentimes when I'm working with a client, I'm going to connect with the person who crossed over. And I'm going to give them information like you would see me do on crossing over, like what I do when I'm lecturing around the world. In this specific instance, it was more about tuning into the case. So what I told him, what I saw, what I felt, gave him insights to help him on his investigation.
So, Robert, and how does it work with the information you get? So, for example, my understanding, it was the case of Annie Lay, right, was missing. John told you she was right there in a bathroom to the right, and then you find her behind the wall in the bathroom?
Yeah, well, Annie Lee was a separate case. Yale University student disappeared some time ago, and John on the phone one day, while I was at the scene, directed myself and some of my colleagues to a particular room and said, she's right there. We searched exactly where he told us, and she was not there. And he said, no, she's between the pipes. She's right there. She was not. He said, what's on the other side of this wall? And there was a bathroom on the other side. And we went through that as well without success. I left and was driving back to Washington, D.C. The following day, one of my colleagues called me and said, hey, you're not going to believe this. He secreted her body between the two walls. There was an opening, and he pushed her body between the walls right where we were looking for her.
And Robert, I'm sorry, were you like, oh my gosh, what just happened?
Yeah, well, that was the one case where I thought, yeah, Josh, sorry, you're wrong on this one, but it turned out he was right.
Okay, so I mean, never question John. Never question John. That's the bottom line. So, John, you've helped with a lot of cases. The Michael Vick one, I don't know if a lot of people know you were part of that one too.
So Bob has brought me over the years various cases, and it's always the same thing. I get a blank slate, I have no bias, and then I basically tell him, again, here's what I'm seeing, here's what I'm feeling, and on this specific instance, this is a direction you may want to, here's an insight that you may want to work with. And that's no different than when I would work with you or a client that's coming to see me. It just, in his case, it happened to be for what his interest was. We're allied with the criminality.
And John, what happened in the Michael Vick dogfighting case? It was about questioning him, right? You thought about a certain line of questioning that might lead to the answers, right, John?
Yes. I think Bob is better able to explain it, being that I'm sports challenged.
Okay, so Bob, I turn it to you. Tell me what happened.
Yeah, so John is not a sports guy, and when I got pulled into this case, I knew there was a lot at stake, obviously, and I had to come up with an interview strategy to get Michael to talk about his involvement in these crimes. And John described to me, hey, talk to him about football. I said, what are you talking about? Talking about football? Of course I'm going to talk about football. No, you need to talk to him about football. Make him understand in a way he can with regard to being on the field and playing football. If you can break it down to him like his situation in those terms of football, you'll get him to talk to you. So that's what I did, and that was one of the ways he eventually opened up and talked to me when I was able to frame it in the reference of a football game.